Welcome to the Warhammer Guy. This episode, we will be painting the Space Tigers. And I know, you're probably thinking, wow, a painting video already? You haven't even done a video about official lore, or homebrew lore, or any lore for that matter, that isn't over 10 minutes long. I know, but I just want to get the basics. Now, as you can see, this model here, it's already painted. But I'm going to repaint it using some colors of the Space Tigers. So first I'm going to use this off-white paint. Yeah, just adjusting the camera. This, I'm going to thin it down with some water. And I'm going to liberally apply this to all of the armor. This khaki color will be a great basis, and I will add some like highlights or whatever to it later to make it actually look white. Here, remember to apply multiple thin coats. This will serve as the undercoat of the already painted but soon to be repainted model. And the reason I'm using lightly colored undercoat is for one reason. I paint with contrast, and so I need to use light paint because contrast only works with light undercoats. Now, this video isn't scripted because I didn't figure to script it. Because I just want to get this done. So soon we'll be going on with. Yes, this is a model from the old Strike Force Justian from 2023. And before we're saying, hey, that's not old. By internet standards, it's old. And this video is on YouTube. YouTube is the internet, so in other words, by YouTube standards, or maybe by meme or internet standards, it's old. So this will serve as so anyways, enough yamming with slides. So once we've applied the thin down undercoat all over the model, we're going to let this dry for some time. So we're gonna let this dry, and then we will continue on with the next part of the video. So I just want to use this little intermission segment to show what paints I'm using for this. So I'm gonna be using Craft Smart Sateen acrylic paint, khaki, Craft Smart deep gray, Citadel color striking scorpion green, Citadel color Griffhound orange, and Citadel color Black Legion. Basic paints, nothing too crazy or complicated, just because this is the simplified version of the color scheme. A more detailed, in-depth version will come soon. I want to note that the paint companies that make the paints that I'm using, they're not paying me to say this. They are not paying me to say anything about them at all. This is not sponsored by any of those brands. I'm just saying these are the paints that I'm using. That's all I'm gonna say. And so I just want to add this segment to the video that why I started Warhammer was actually my older brother Harold decided to introduce his younger brother to Warhammer. And so that's kind of how I started. The first factions my brother told me about were the Space Marines and Astronaut Harem. And considering what faction we're painting today, it's pretty obvious which one I chose. I was actually originally more of a Guard fan, although the night before my birthday, my brother literally said to me, Space Marines or Necrons, and I said Space Marines, and the rest is history. And so anyways, I think this paint should need a little bit more time to dry. Just give it a few more minutes, and then we will continue our Space Tigers painting journey. Wondering, when did I start Warhammer? It was 3 years ago. Alright, I think the paint should be dry now, so we're going to crack on with the orange armor. Now, I will explain the areas to paint this as it is a bit more complicated. Basically, you're going to want to paint the crotch, knees, feet, and the torso. Next part of the armor you're going to paint is the torso. We are going to be painting the chest emblem in black next. But let's get finished with the rest of the armor before we do the details. Now that we're done with the orange armor, we're gonna have to paint all the undersuit details, all the chest emblems, and all the other details that need black, as well as all the leather, the pouches, all that. Remember to use a good small brush for this, as these are much smaller details. Alright, and so now we're going to paint the most prominent black detail, at least for the Space Tigers card scheme, the chest emblem, which the chest emblem being black takes inspiration from, like, the Blood Angels and chapters like that, because I think that a warm color, like, you know, red, orange, yellow, the warm colors, and then the chest emblem being a very dark color, like black, or sometimes dark brown, I guess, or dark gray, make for a very cool color scheme. Now we're also going to freehand the chapter symbol. Again, now since this is a intercessor, we're going to be painting the battle line icon. Now we're going to have to paint the chapter symbol. Space Tigers chapter symbol. If you haven't seen my Space Tigers video, Space chapter symbols are just an angry tiger face. Now, if you want, you can use Space Wolves pauldrons and have it be side facing, although the way I usually do it is front facing, but I never really decided it like permanently, so it's either or. Again, Space Tigers, they're not official, they're a homebrew chapter, and when you have a homebrew chapter, you know, it doesn't need to have pure, solid, how to paint this or that, you must do this. That's the joy of creating a custom chapter. You can do it all by yourself. Now, I've also created the Space Tigers for Space Marine 2, which I guess I could stream Space Marine 2, or at least show you the gameplay of it in a future video, but that's not today. But just to note, yes, I do play Space Marine 2. And so yeah. And I actually tried to recreate my drawing of Dmitry Nikolaev, Chastmaster of the Space Tigers, with Space Marine 2. You don't need to know how much grinding I did that. So anyways, back to the painting. Yes, we are done with the orange armor. Now we're going to do the last details using striking scorpion green. So the orange is Gryph-hound orange, the black is Black Legion, and the green is striking scorpion green. This creates a trifecta of bright, eye-catching colors. So now I just gotta paint. And no, we're not gonna be using metallic paint. This is just purely contrast, except for the undercoat, because it's easier for me to do. Alright. Now we're gonna get the eye lenses with the striped scorpion green. You can touch up with the earlier colors if you wish. If you make any mistakes, you can touch up with like the previous colors. And now if you made any mistakes, you can feel free to touch up on them. Now lastly, I'm gonna use the gray paint to get any silver details, as I'm not using metallics. Alright, and so with those last details finished, now if there's any rocks on the base, you can use any gray paint, and for the base rim, you can use striped scorpion green. And so next, I'm just going to do one last little detail with this. Painting a little black dot at the end of the gun barrel. As like a final little finishing touch. Now this step is completely optional, and I know it's not the smartest choice to put in a simple overview video. Okay, and so yeah, it doesn't have to be that good. And so there it is. Well, let me get to the camera. Your very own. I mean, presumably if you're painting this. But here we go. This went from a Dark Angel Successor chapter to a Space Tiger in a good amount of time. This is probably going to be my longest video yet. As of December 1st, 2025, this is my longest video. It might actually be not December 1st when I post this, depending on how long it takes. And so, yep, there it is. My Space Tiger's Intercessor from the Space Marine Adventures Tyranid Attack, Strike Force Justian. Anything that sells this particular miniature, the Strike Force Justian name is Brother Viginus. You can get him off eBay, or he'll be called Brother Adrix in the Space Marine Adventures Tyranid Attack. This is a good one because it's a simple Space Marine Intercessor, no real crazy details. And overall, I just like this model. And so now you have your very own piece of the Space Tigers chapter. Anyways, that's all for this episode. Okay, bye, loyalists. There. And remember, for the love of the Emperor, like and subscribe!